desert, and there's nobody anywhere around the desert, nobody there. But I was kind of feeling self-conscious about it, so I went over close to the car and I opened the door, and I squatted and I did my business and closed the door. And I guess cops saw that later on, and we did move locations, but I'm positive it's because we weren't finding any rabbits instead of my donation was too close to the car. But one thing Dad said was, Al, you're a really good boy, but your wet bathroom was too close to the car. I laughed because it was the backhand to the head. And I knew we were going to be good and be solid and be happy. I don't know how to honor Don Paul Mizanato. I don't know how to give him all the things he gave us. And I know he changed our lives. But you know, I think we had a remarkable effect and change in his lives. And it was a beautiful thing. And we all feel, I think, very fortunate that we have my mom, Candy Mizanato, and a man that chose to be our dad, Don Paul Mizanato, as the patriarchs of a big, huge family that has tons of earthly effects of others that we have in our world, that our brother Steve knows and his friends that he considers family, and John has altered, the entire world changed who and what we are, how we go about doing what we do. And I'm pretty sure that each of us would like to know that we have made Don Paul Mizanato proud.
I don't know how I can beat what my brother just did, given the issues he has right now. And I fully expected my older brother to be up here speaking, so you're going to be kind of stuck with me, totally unprepared, right? But having grown up with brothers, I have learned not to necessarily rely on them at every moment. So I did kind of prepare. I asked my mother, in my father's last few years of life, he would wear the most bizarre socks you ever wanted to see. And sometimes I would look at him and go, man, I wouldn't be cut dead in those things, but he proudly wore them. So, there you go. Pop loved life. And let me tell you, everyone that's here, he loved you too, all right? But for us three, John and Al and I, you know, as you heard, Al said he was our Savior. Yes, but he was by an example. I have to say, when I first found out, and I was 11 years old when I met Don Paul, and I found out that he was wanting to date my mother, all right? I remember quite clearly telling my mother that if she ever remarried or had another man in her life, I was out of there, all right? And the interesting thing is, we met him, and my brothers fell in love with him. And I was not so sure. And the interesting thing, I'm 11 years old, but he pulls me aside and gives me respect as if I'm an important adult like him. And he told me, listen, Steve, I will not marry your mother unless all three of you want me to. And that just blew me away. I'd never seen a strong man's man who would fight. He's ready to fight anybody. But to love my mother so much to say that he would not marry her unless we accepted him. So I decided I'd try. And man, oh man, everything Al said was true. He totally changed our lives. But he did so by example. He didn't do it by lecturing. My father was not a talker, okay? But he would tell you things like, you know what's right, so do it. And then if you said, I don't know what's right, then he'd say, figure it out. Because everybody knows the difference between right and wrong. Now, this man was my John Wayne. I think we can all relate. Big, silent, strong type. But with a heart of gold. That guy was for the downtrodden. One of the times I'd seen him the most upset in his entire life was watching, you gotta remind me, Mom, I was suddenly...
program?
No. Forrest Gump. Sorry. Yes. Now, who on earth would get upset watching Forrest Gump? Well, I've never seen him go into such a rage at a scene. Now, this is a man who normally fell asleep during movies, you know, whatever. Or if he liked the movie, you'd see it over, but you'd never see any emotion out of him. But when those guys in the truck start chasing Forrest Gump with his braces, you know, my father came out of that chair. I mean, he wanted to kick the shit out of those guys. How could they do that? Well, that's the kind of guy he was. He decided in a moment what was right and wrong, and he followed through over and over. And like magic, if you needed him, he would just be there. He didn't have to talk. He would just be there for you, letting you know that you were there. At the same time, as I was telling you, he was funny, happy, and he enjoyed us like we enjoyed him. All right? He introduced us to all kinds of things, horseback riding, motorcycles, golf, you name it. And he would do it suddenly, you know, like, hey, it's snowing in the mountains. We're going to the mountains. We don't have any warm clothes. No, everybody get in the car, boom. And he'd go buy everything, including the sled, and haul our butts up there. You know, he loved life. But more than anything, how do you describe a man, 92, almost 93 years old, and do him any justice? Well, in my justice, it's a love story between my mother and my father. I mean, I was with them a lot in their final years, you might say, that are the last. But they couldn't be separated at all. At night, they would hold hands when they went to bed. They loved each other like you wouldn't believe. And for the first time in my life, I began to really trust love, okay? The way my father was for my mother. It was beautiful beyond belief. And yes, he's my John Wayne, the strongest man that I ever knew, and somebody I would always like to emulate. But he could be funny. One time we got pulled over by a highway patrol coming back from one of those hunting trips out in the desert. And the reason was, this guy roared up on my father and started tailgating him and honking and what have you, and it was dangerous, it was high speed. And so the guy finally flies past. Well, Pop got enraged. I guess he wanted to go have a conversation with the guy because he started chasing the guy. No sooner did he start chasing the guy, and boom, highway patrol pulls Pop over. And we're going, the mom's furious, like, now you're going to get it. You're going to get it. You know. So my father, like I said, really wasn't good with words. He's trying to explain to this highway patrol, well, the reason I was doing that, officer, is the guy, instead of saying tailgating, he goes, he was nose guarding me. He was nose guarding me. The cops looking at him like, and then he goes, oh, and I'm wearing my heavy boots, whatever. The next thing you know, the cop is laughing, no ticket given, and that's the way it was almost every time. Even when he did something wrong, he ended up loving him at the end of it, because he was just crazy. But I could not live with myself today and call myself a man if I wasn't here with all the people that knew and loved him and was able to convey to all of you that to me, he was the greatest man I've ever known. All right, and although we were technically stepchildren, he's my dad. I'll bust anybody in the nose who says different. All right, I love that man. And the other thing was, he gave us Marty. Now it's And I love that kid, and I love my brothers, and I love my mom. And I'll never forget Don Paul Messnot Jr. I love him.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Probably because I used to yell at the kids a lot. When I met Don Paul, I went to the beauty salon, had my hair fixed because somebody had messed it up. And my friend at work said, I know just for you who you should go to. So I went to him, you know, and he found out I was getting a divorce, but the kids came that evening because he was still working on the hair, and he had them decorating his shop, putting the Coke bottles away and everything. And I was impressed with that because he immediately bonded with kids. But still, you know, I was old-fashioned, and I wasn't about to just go out. I had been married 14 years, 3 kids, and I didn't drive, he didn't let me do anything really. But now, when I met Don Paul, every Saturday after that, he was doing my hair. 3 o'clock appointment, the last appointment. And he would ask me out, and I'd say, no, I'm scared of men now. And he said, well, I'll just wait. Finally, when I got my interlocutory degree, I said to him, okay, we can have a date, but I got to have a chaperone. Now, how many guys do you know would look at you and say, you need a chaperone? You're 30 years old and you need a chaperone? But we had a chaperone. And from then on, he was so good to me and to the boys, but I was still old-fashioned. I wouldn't let him move in. He got kind of upset about that. But he became my hero. Now the boys have told you how he's become a hero to them. But to me, he was my hero. If I ever wanted to find love, there it was. And even to the very end, he didn't want to leave me. I want to be with you, Ken. I want to be with you. I'm trying so hard to get better. I want to be with you. And we moved in from there to another hospital, and he says to me, "Where's your bed?" If he was going to be in that hospital, I was supposed to be there too. So not to make it a long, long story, but I found love, and I found a good man, and he raised my children right. So the other part is to see that after all these years, how many of you have come to honor us with your presence. Thank you so very much. I love y'all.
We love you too.
The song that you'll be hearing if the sound works. I think it's on a different system than the video. It's a song that Candy chose because it means, it's her tribute to Don Paul as he was and is the love of her life. And the song is Wind Beneath My Wings. Please join me in the words of the 23rd Psalm that are in the program. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Amen.
Amen. The service is ended. I direct you to the directions that are in your program for the reception at the Bethel Lutheran Church, and hope that you will join us there.